In addition to the basic stitches we have covered, as well as satin outlines, there are more decorative stitches that can be applied as well. Zigzag applies an open zigzag to a line. This type of line does have an underlay added automatically, so underlay must be removed to have just the zigzag. Click on the underlay icon in Effects to omit the underlay. The blanket stitch is used often in applique and can be applied for a narrow open border. Blackwork outline will add a geometric pattern to the outline, while Candlewicking outline will add a line of knots to the outline with jump stitches in between the knots. Pattern Run applies a decorative stitch pattern to an outline. Let's look at editing possibilities for each of these stitches. Select the outline and open Object Properties. With the zigzag stitch, you can alter the spacing as well as the width of the zigzag line. The spacing affects the density of the stitches. A higher number means the stitches will be further apart. A lower number will place them closer together. The width of the stitch can also be changed, and you can add a calligraphy effect by placing a check mark in front of calligraphy and changing the angle if desired. With blanket stitch, the stitch width and the stitch spacing can be changed. The spacing is the distance in millimeters between each stitch. The width changes the thickness of the blanket stitch. If you wish to make the change in millimeters, add mm behind the value and click Apply. The direction a blanket stitch line is digitized, whether it's left to right or right to left, will affect whether the spikes of the blanket point up or down. The orientation affects the direction of the blanket stitch. To reverse the direction, place a dot by inverse and click on Apply. The offset affects the placement of the edge of the blanket stitch from the digitized design. By default, the stitches are placed around the center of a digitized line, but this can be changed by clicking on Offset and then clicking on Apply. By checking calligraphy and clicking on Apply, the stitches can be made to slant. To edit Blackwork borders, again, open Object Properties, click on Select. All the Blackwork designs that you had available for fills are also available for Blackwork outlines. Select the pattern that you wish to use and click Apply. You can alter the size and the spacing of the Blackwork pattern. For Candlewicking, if you wish to change the type of candlewicking, click on Select and choose the type of candlewicking stitch you want and click on Apply. You can alter the size and the spacing of these types of stitches as well. Click on Apply to make the change. For Pattern Run stitches, by clicking on the Select button in Object Properties, you can choose among several types of pattern sets. Click on the drop-down arrow, select the stitch that you want to use, click OK, then click on Apply. You can alter the size and the spacing for patterns as well. So as you can see, with decorative outline stitches, there are many changes that can be made and many choices to be made when you're planning your designs.